football season, so let's talk some football. God, there's so much to talk about this season, right? Will the Eagles repeat? Will the Cleveland Browns actually win a game? Will Le'Veon Bell stop screwing over dumbasses like me who took him first overall in their fantasy draft instead of Todd Gurley? So while you're, grabbing some brews or heating up some wings, let's talk the nitty-gritty of football. Let's talk fonts! Yeah, I really wish I was cooler too. So this is the first football jersey I'm reviewing on this show. I was kind of apprehensive to get to it because really, there's only so much that you can do with a football jersey. So much space is devoted to the number and the nameplate that really, there's not a whole lot to go off of other than the color scheme and the font. Generally speaking, there really isn't a lot of room for creativity. With football, you have to take into account helmets and pants as well, so it's much more of a complete package kind of deal. I mean, that's why the Color Rush jerseys are what they are. They're garishly monochromatic from head to toe, and that's the point. That point being to look like human Sharpies. I mean, you could highlight a textbook with Todd Gurley. But one of the jerseys you can judge for incorporating something different, anything different, is that of the Cincinnati Bengals. These were introduced in 2004. You'll notice it has tiger stripes on the sleeve, white paneling on the underarm, and a rounded font with a drop shadow as opposed to traditional varsity-style block lettering. It may seem like a small thing, but rounded font actually was kind of a novelty in the NFL at the time. I mean, the Chicago Bears always used it, the Pittsburgh Steelers started to use it in 1997, and the Baltimore Ravens completely broke the mold as one of the first teams to introduce their own custom font when they came into the league. Other than that, though, you had a lot of similar-looking numbers around the NFL. One thing this particular font does is make the numbers look three-dimensional, as opposed to just serving as a simple outline. It's apparently more of a polarizing feature than I would have anticipated. Apparently a lot of people do not care for this, but I don't mind it. I don't find it abhorrent whatsoever. I applaud it for at least being different. Isn't this fun, kids? Fonts! The Bengals started off in 1968 with a jersey kit very similar to that of the Cleveland Browns. This was at a time when being like the Cleveland Browns was considered a good thing. They wore black with white and orange stripes and a plain orange helmet. Their team name was on the side, which is a look that the New York Football Giants adopted in 1976. Cincinnati switched things up in 1981. After sputtering in mediocrity at the end of the 1970s and frustrated by the indistinguishability from the Cleveland Browns, team president Paul Brown commissioned a man named Bruce Claypool to design a new helmet for the new decade. Claypool drew up the now iconic tiger stripe design, inspired by the horns of the Rams. It's a seemingly obvious yet terrific idea to incorporate an identifiable aspect of the mascot into the helmet. I mean, I can't think of too many teams that do that beyond the Bengals, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Vikings. I mean, the Falcons don't have feathers, the Jets don't have mechanical wings, the Texans don't have Ted Cruz. Hell, even the Cleveland Browns barely have the color brown. The shoulder stripes were okay in their initial iteration, more a work in progress than anything else, but this new look inspired the Bengals to take over the AFC and win their first ever playoff game and make their first ever Super Bowl that same year. They lost by 5 to Joe Montana and the 49ers, but it was still a great year. Boomer Esiason then led the Bengals back to the Super Bowl in 1988, and by 1990, the Tiger Stripe jerseys had the most playoff berths in franchise history. We're gonna live forever! Oh God, no! Oh, not the 90s. Oh God. Oh, you hate to see it. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, yeah, the 90s were a rough time for Bengals fans. I think the Bangles recorded more hits in the 90s than the Bengals, and they were broken up for most of the decade. There were a few minor tweaks to the jersey over that stretch. The TV numbers went from the sleeve to the shoulder. There was a little Tony the Tiger looking thing put on the sleeve briefly, but by 2004, after 13 straight years without a winning record, it was clear it was time for a change. And sure enough, they did. Marvin Lewis was a second-year head coach, Heisman winner Carson Palmer was the new QB, and he had 2 new targets in TJ Houshmandzadeh and Chad Johnson. All that was needed was a fresh new look to wipe the slate clean. If it worked in 1981, surely it would work again. Enter these threads that you see before you. The Bengals also introduced an orange alternate that, again, is pretty polarizing in the Bengal fan community, but I really like it a lot, but that's another review for another time. And would you look at that? Within a year, the Bengals qualify for the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. Surely this means this jersey is the Super Bowl winner we've all been waiting for. This is the one! Oh God, Carson Palmer. Oh God, oh no, oh losing seasons. Oh God, oh Andy Dalton, why can't you beat the Texans? God, score more than 20 points in a playoff game, Andy Dalton, you scrub. Oh God, oh now Andy Dalton's hurt too? Oh, stop with the personal fouls, Vontze. Pac-Man, control yourself just once, stop imploding! Ah! Anyway, to the jerseys themselves. Me personally, I actually like the orange more than I like the black. The white underarm is whack, but the pants are cool, so I guess it kind of cancels out, and the white ones are okay. The whole kit kind of looks like Predator, Prowler, and Little Tiger, which, if you get that reference, you're cool, I like you, but like maybe get a life? I don't know, it's too late for me, but like you can still save yourself. And again, contrary to popular opinion, I'm actually not that crazy about the Color Rush jerseys. Everyone seems to love them, but I don't know, I think I would have liked it better if the helmet was white striped as well, but no, damn, no Fashion League. They could have been the Siegfried and Roy edition, it would have been great! So with all that said and done, I'm gonna give these jerseys a 6.2 out of 10. Considering that very few jerseys in the NFL get more than an 8 on my scale, it actually stacks up pretty good against the curve. Every jersey has a story. If you have a jersey you want to see me review, tweet at CaseyBryant51. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this video, or yell at me about how wrong I am in the comments. That's it for Jersey Corner. Crank that Carrie Underwood, baby! Woo!
Oh, Sunday night. Ooh, Sunday night.